I'm Dr. Mark Rothenberg, the director of the Cincinnati Center for Eosinophilic Disorders. And I want to let you know that here at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, we're very concerned about the growing incidence and suffering that patients have with a variety of eosinophil-associated GI diseases, which we now refer to as EGID. We're very committed here to figuring out the etiology, the cause of this disease, and understanding why we've seen so many patients coming from around the world seeking care. What can we do to really improve the lives of people suffering, especially countless number of children? Here at Cincinnati Children, under my leadership, a lot of progress has been made, and I'm pleased to share that with you. Because of the partnership with you, we've made some major discoveries over the year that we know are impacting the lives of people and educating others around the world. These discoveries include identifying that eosinophilic esophagitis is an inflammatory disease, that it's driven by food allergens, that it's an allergic disease. We've shown for the first time that a particular drug, fluticasone, at high doses is very effective at improving the disease and improving the histology, but also the clinical well-being. We've also shown that, however, that these medications don't work in all patients, so we're very interested in what we call steroid resistance and understanding what our alternatives are to not only using this medication, but modifying diet therapy more effectively, improving patients' well-being through new medications. We're pleased to say that after 10 years of researching and identifying a particular pathway related to an immunohormone called interleukin-13, that we can now show that an antibody against this in patients is effective at reversing some of the features of the disease. I'm particularly interested in and have stimulated companies to now pursue additional clinical trials related to this. Other major progress that we've made in the last year is reporting that eosinophilic esophagitis has a very strong hereditary component. By working with twins from around the world, we've been able to show that the hereditary component is very key, and that genetics is important and is also a very key early environmental factor that interacts with the genome, the genes of an individual, to cause their full susceptibility. So one of the fundamental questions we're now searching for is what genes are involved and what environmental factors, particularly in young children, are driving the cause and the susceptibility to this disease. We've also extended our research, which has been focused on the esophagus, to now looking at the lower GI tract. We have a major breakthrough in terms of understanding eosinophilic gastritis and eosinophilic gastroenteritis, defining what we call the eosinophilic GI transcriptome, and showing that this is related but quite different than eosinophilic esophagitis. As you may have heard about, we've also released an eosinophilic esophagitis diagnostic panel, which is now being commercialized, and it's available to further understanding the diagnosis and prognosis of individual patients. So please join me now in coming to my lab. I'd like to give you a brief tour of the lab, show you the hardworking people there, and then get your make some final words to you. So I'm going to now walk over to my lab. This is my office. This is our pathway to get to our laboratory. Say hello to Terry. Here is the administrative assistant. She's busy on the phone. We're now entering the laboratory. This is one of our doctors, Dr. Morris. Say hello to Dr. Morris. Hello. He's in training. He's heavily invested in understanding eosinophilic problems as well. We store a lot of our samples at minus 135 degrees Celsius. Samples from patients with thousands of different samples coming in and now being stored very carefully. Hi, Simone.
Good morning.
Let's see who's in the lab today. Here's Dr. Davis, Dr. Benjamin Davis, who's on staff now as a physician working with us. And Dr. Davis just finished his training in allergy and immunology, and he's a specialist in allergy and immunology, and he's very interested in becoming an expert researcher and ultimately running his own laboratory. So he's doing a PhD in the area of immunology, focusing on eosinophilic diseases, particularly eosinophilic esophagitis. Dr. Davis, could you tell us what you're working on?
Sure. I've been part of a group here that has been focused on a
new gene that we've just shown is an important cause in EOE. It's a gene called Calpain 14. What we know about this gene is that it is the level of this gene is turned on much more in EOE patients compared to normal patients. And what's been very interesting recently is when we take this gene and we turn it on at a very high level in an esophagus model system, we see changes that look like changes that we see on an EOE patient's biopsy.
Okay, it's a very important finding. We're really beginning to understand the key elements of the disease, why people get this disease and not other allergic diseases, and one of the immediate goals we have is to understand this significantly enough so that we can actually develop a drug that modifies it and is an effective treatment, hopefully cure for eosinophilic esophagitis. Thank you for what you're doing, Dr. Davis.
Of course.
Well, I wanted to take this opportunity to give you a brief tour of the facility. You can see that there's a number of people working hard on a daily basis around the clock to solve this disease. We're very committed here. We have an expert team with multiple different disciplines, and we know that we're having an impact, and we greatly appreciate that this is a partnership with you and our research community around the world, and we're pleased to be able to partner with you. At the same time, we know that we have so much more to do because there's countless number of people suffering, and I want to bring this to your attention, particularly at the end of the year, during the holiday season, to ask you to think deeply about whether or not what you can do to further help us, whether it be a financial commitment, a gift, small or large, or something else you think that you could do to help us for our plight, to solve the mysteries, to treat eosinophilic GI diseases at the highest level, to educate others around the world to improve health of people with this disease, and ultimately find the cure for the disease. Thank you very much, and I'm going to take this opportunity to wish you a wonderful holiday season and Happy New Year.